Hello, it's me again, that one girl on YouTube who shows up every couple months to tell you that a certain Town of Salem role is actually awful and that we should probably get rid of or fix it. And today is no different because we need to talk about the first anti-fun role in Town of Salem history. I've called other roles unhealthy in the past before, mainly Town of Salem 1's Survivor and pre-2020 Retributionist, but those are nothing compared to what we're talking about today. When you get to a point where we need to ban a specific role in the pre-made lobbies I play in, you know something has gone horribly wrong. So let's discuss how we ended up in this situation. Just to make sure we're all on the same page, we need to establish that there is a difference between a powerful role and an unhealthy role, because sometimes they're confused for the same thing. A powerful role is a role that changes the course of the game and needs to be played around. Think about seers coming out with their wills changing the direction of the game by having the rest of the town question the people in their will, or a conjurer popping out and sniping a revealed mayor to give majority back to the coven. These are the S-tier roles on your tier list. An unhealthy role, on the other hand, can vary in how powerful it is, but has a core, fundamental problem with its ability, alignment, or playstyle that has little to no counterplay, and has no skill needed or risk involved when playing as it. Think about Old Admirer. Its ability to insta-confirm themselves and another player was already very OP. There was no counterplay at all. If you were proposed to as an evil, you were damned if you accepted and damned if you didn't. And there was no skill involved on the Admirer's end. Regardless what you did, you either confirmed a townie or found an evil. Compare this to another strong role like Jailer and you see the difference. Jailers need to be skilled since they lose their executions if they X a townie. Evils have a fair bit of counterplay since jailers aren't insta-confirmed via cutscenes, so they can claim jailer themselves, or trick the jailer into Xing a townie, making them unable to X themselves. You see the difference here? So, I've beaten around the bush enough. This video is about the role Trickster, which in its current state, I consider to be the most unhealthy role in Town of Salem history. It's clear that the devs understand how problematic it is, because it's already been reworked and changed twice, and honestly, it's just gotten worse with each rework. When the game was in its alpha, and for about a week into its proper release, Trickster functioned like a pseudo-veteran. It had 3 charges, and when used, would redirect any attacks on them. Needless to say, this wasn't very well liked because of how similar it was to Veteran. I wouldn't consider it unhealthy in this state, it was just very boring to play and was redundant as a role. So, it was changed to its second version. This version allowed them to visit a player up to 3 times and play a trick on them, forcing them to attack the Trickster if they were a role capable of attacking, and would kill both the Trickster and the target. And this is where things went south very quickly. But even more recently, the cap on the amount of tricks that could be played was lifted, meaning Trickster now has unlimited tricks to use throughout the course of the game. And I like being positive here, but this was straight up terrible for the game. Not only is it unhealthy, but it's boring and frustrating to play as and against. There's a reason people don't like playing as Bodyguard. It sucks to die when you successfully use your ability. Players should be rewarded for accomplishing their goal, but instead they're punished and put in a position where they have to lose all agency over their game because their role's in a spot where in order to be balanced, they have to die with their attacker or the role risks being broken. But that leads to another massive glaring problem because once they're dead, they can't die again, and you know what role can use Trickster in this game? Retry, and it gets unlimited uses of corpses in this game. So if we spawn into a game with a Retry and a Trickster, the Trickster can just start going down the list, tricking every player until they hit an evil, die with them, then the Retry can pick them right back up and continue down the list with even less risk involved because it won't even be trading a townie for an evil anymore. They can just straight up kill evils without any penalty or drawback. Like, imagine if a vigilante could do this. They could just target everyone until they hit an evil and never risk dying to guilt because apparently they have magical bullets that are incapable of killing townies. Yes, I know Trickster can trick town killing rolls. Literally just don't target the confirmed vigi then. There is an extreme lack of skill expression or risk involved when playing Trickster. You can just click buttons down the list every night and be just fine. It's even worse to play against as evil because there is no counterplay. If you're a serial killer and you're number 3 on the player list, too bad. It doesn't matter how well you're playing because the Trickster guessed you. The only thing left to do is to just go after any town killing claims immediately and pray that they don't find you before you can take them out. It is brutal and it is not fun, and if you don't happen to have 15 players to make a custom game with to ban it, you're stuck with it. So how do we fix it? I have no idea. The trick ability is broken beyond fixing though, and if that isn't taken out, then the role as a whole should just be removed. In my opinion, we should just make it Town of Salem 1's Transporter, since it's one of the few roles that didn't get carried over to the sequel at all, and it's probably the most missed role by the community as a whole. I think that theming fits well too. You wouldn't have to change the name or icon. The trick could just be swapping 2 players at night. But if my interview with Russ is anything to go by, that isn't happening anytime soon, so I'm not really sure what to do with the role. I guess you could say we're in a tricky situation.